Hi everyone, it's Renee with Delaney Jane Cards. Welcome back to my channel. Today I decided to share the Easter cards that I made for my kids. I used Pink and Main's Love You stamp set and dies. I've had this in my stash for a while, and I have three very young kiddos, and thought these three images would be perfect for that. So I stamped them out here in my ink on 3 blackout ink, and then I am going to go ahead and Copic color. I put the colors right on the screen for you so that you can see them. I tried to list the colors up in the corner or somewhere that you can see it on every marker change. Well, what I'm doing here is just coloring lightest to darkest. I'm pretty sure I go back darkest to lightest. This is the very first thing that I have colored in probably an entire year. It has been a long year. But I'm coloring this bunny pink, and I'm using not your traditional blending pink. I wanted it to be kind of a light corally pink color, so this RV42 is kind of the most, I wouldn't say like, I was going to say notorious, but that's the wrong word, a most obvious color. So the bunny kind of takes on that hue. And the darkest one here I'm using is this RV13 that keeps it kind of that aqua-y pink, aqua corally pink color. My brain is not braining today, and words are not wording, so thank you for watching. Anyway, I am going lightest to darkest, darkest to lightest, because I have not colored in a very long time, and I definitely need some practice. These colored card panels that I'm using, they're also not my traditional Neenah Solar White Classic Crest 80-pound cardstock or whatever I usually use. These are card panels that I got from a stationery store, our stationery business that was closing. I got tons of these panels. It's just kind of sad to see that those businesses closing all around our country, but hopefully that leaves room for paper crafters like you and I to fill in the gaps. I did hear that card making is coming back for the newest generation, or at least sending cards. They seem to like them and find that they are vintage even when they're brand new. So I hope that encourages you to make more cards. Oh, that was RV06. I don't actually think I listed that one. I don't know. Anyway, this is my color combination. And then I forgot his feet, so I went ahead and colored his little feet. My daughter is going to absolutely love this pink bunny. She likes all colors and all things, but if it's specifically made for her, she's a huge fan. Now I'm going to share a secret. I haven't filmed anything in a year, so while I was making this card, I of course screwed up and forgot to record a part of it. So then you'll see the other two cards getting made because, well, I felt like I didn't want to skimp out on like video. Oh, here, this is an MFT Dynamics Blueprints 2, I think, but it's a solid die, so you can't really see through it. So I just showed how I made like a template and placed that over the words that I wanted to die cut out, and then ran that through my die cut machine with the die like fitted in the slot. It's just a cool trick to cut those dies. Most dies aren't like that anymore. Most of them are like the frame dies, so you can like poke the inside out. But if you have a solid die, you can do that. You can also use your little pokey tool, or I have been known to use a piece of tape. You stick it to the underside of your paper, and then when you pull it apart, it usually comes out of the die. So there I was layering a layer die that's from Alina Crafts, I think. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that I've had it several years, and I don't know if I've ever used it. So today was the day. And then I used a black glaze pen on the bunny's eyes and a Sakura or Spectrum Noir clear glitter pen on the bunny's ears. I want to say him, but it's pink bunny. And then here I'm cutting a fishtail in the end of this banner. And when I first started card making, I didn't have dies or anything, but I used to get so frustrated because I couldn't get those banners to work right, and it's because I wasn't cutting in the center and then cutting to the center, flipping it over, and then cutting, to the center. Okay, so there's where I lost some footage, so I decided, well, I will show you me making the rest of these cards because I have this little chickie and then I have that little lamb. So the chickie was super easy. I just picked several yellows and I wanted to have, some pretty good contrast. So with the yellow, I didn't really blend it out like I would or like I have for other colors. I kind of kept it more, I would say, like graphic, so you can really see the shadow, because it's just really hard for me to get dimension in yellow without using something like purple or brown or orange to like build that dimension. So here you can really see where the darker color is, and then I like just tried to kind of blend it a little bit with the lighter yellow. And then I'm using these Tombow alcohol markers. A friend of mine had gifted them to me a couple years ago, and I do enjoy them. They're bright. I only have a couple of them, but I did use them. Then here is my little sheep, and I wasn't sure how to color him. I really didn't want to color him gray, like his whole everything gray. So I decided on this like more purpley blue colorway. So I am going to color the sheep kind of purple, and then I'm going to change him up a little bit with some other things in a little bit. But here I'm just going in and finding the deepest places. The places where like the little puffballs of fur are in front of other puffballs of fur, and like the dips in the little puffballs. And once I had that in place, I took my second lightest and I started making kind of swirly curly cues, both clockwise and counterclockwise. And then I went through and I blended out the darker shading that I had put in. So kind of forgetting that those little curly cues were there, but still blending the shade. So that'll blend out those swirls just a little bit, but it'll also kind of help with the shadow effect. And then I went in with the next darkest marker and added more little swirly curly cues. I wanted him to look puffy and sweet. And then, of course, blended it out again and then reinforced my shadows because I really didn't want him to seem flat. He's so stinking cute. You could use like Flower Soft on him, or I don't even know. You could do all sorts of really cute stuff with him. He could be colored any color. But I, like I said, chose this blue color. Here you can see me like blending a little bit more to make sure that there's blending underneath what I'm going to do to make him look absolutely adorable. Before we get to that though, I need to color his like skin, his little not furry parts. So I'm using some W markers here. I think I have W0, W2, and W4, which is what I end up using. And I just wanted to, he just needed some color because he's not going to get the cute little treatment that I'm going to do on his fur, on his face and ears. And I do color his hooves, but end up changing that later. But here I'm just blending him out. Anywhere his little fur would, go over top of his ears or his face, it's darker, and, blending it to lighter. And I do believe I bring in a pink, yeah, I think it's like, it's one of the, look at that, it's R00. And I put it on his cheeks and his nose and then blend that back out. Here's where I decided to do the hooves. I did N4 and N9. Those are not warm. I wanted them to be shiny black. And, well, and then I colored it all the way in, and then I was like, well, I don't really like that either. But I was this far in, so I just continued on. I did have a plan for the eyes. Figured I would use the same plan for the hooves. So here's where I make him fuzzy. I'm using this calligraphy zig chalk marker, and I am just doing the same squiggly stuff over all the squiggles. And that kind of, it doesn't really show up on camera or on video, but it kind of adds this little chalky texture. And then I'm using a number 10 Jelly Roll white gel pen to do the squiggles over top of all of that purple and blue underneath, trying to keep all the shading, you know, like right around the edges and stuff. And it's going to make him have lots of texture, and he's going to seem fuzzy. So I did the number 10, and then I pulled in a number 8 because that has a thinner line, so it'll look even more different. And went over, you know, kind of all the places, make sure that everything was covered with the squiggles, but I could still see the shading underneath. And then I took that jelly or that clear glitter pen and I went over top. Now that does move around some of the white from the gel pen, so that adds even more interest. Here I'm using a black glaze pen for the eyes. I love these because they dry super shiny and they're raised. And you can foil on this, so if you ever really wanted to, you could like fill in the hooves and run it through your machine and put like rainbow foil on his hooves, which would be so, oh my gosh, so cute. So here I also did the little chickie's eyeballs. He's got nothing super special to him. He's got like, he's just yellow. He's so cute though. And I did the same thing for these ones. I used that same Alina Crafts layering die set and created this background. I want to say this is an A6 panel, but I'm putting it on an A7 card. I just have been, when I have made cards, I have definitely enjoyed making A7 cards versus A2 cards. But I like them all. I really, A6 actually is a really nice size, and you can get a lot. It's weird because it's not that much bigger than an A4, but you can get a lot, or bigger than an A2 or an A4. But you can get a lot more on that space. So here I just, like I said, I've been hearing these. There was a piece stuck in between there. I've been hearing these to different color cardstocks. I did choose this purple for this sheep to kind of bring out those shadow colors that I had. And I don't know. I think this background is so pretty. You can do anything with it. You could add roses, make a wedding card, a sympathy card, a birthday card, all sorts of stuff. I just chose to use it for my Easter cards. And in all honesty, I only chose it because I don't really have very many things of, well, I do have most of my stuff out now, but I don't have a lot of things organized yet. I am still in a transitional period in my card making. Anyway, I went ahead and added the Love You to the one with the lamb and Happy Easter to the other ones. And then I pulled some sparkly sequins and stuff from my stash. I think those hearts are from Buttons Galore. I don't even know if they are still around. I did no research whether these products, well, I know the stamp set and die set is available because I looked it up last night. But I didn't do any research into whether these sequins were available or any of that because, you know, I know you have your own. There's no reason to go out and chase what I have. I do know that these little teeny tiny hearts I'm using on that sheep, those are from the Dollar Tree several years ago. So, yeah, I don't know if all those are available, but you got something, you can do your own. Anyway, I picked one of those hearts from Buttons Galore, and I have decided to put one on each of the little critters because I love my kids so much, and I want them to know that. So I did that, and I used these carrots on the bunny one. That's where I got disappointed that I hadn't filmed because they're colored with those Tombow alcohol markers, and then they just have like glitter over them. There were nothing special, but that's how come you ended up seeing all 3 cards today. So I really hope that you enjoyed seeing how those come together. Oh, I did finish the insides. So I wanted to show this because I didn't want to get my big stamping platform out. So I used the smaller one, and I have my card bases in there, and I have them upside down so that I don't have to fold my card base over in order to stamp. So I just have everything lined up like the wrong way, and I turned it upside down because that's how I like to use my stamp platform. And then the magnet that I'm using was from Misty, which is thicker, so I had to make sure that that was pushed all the way down to the frame of my stamping platform in order for me to get a good impression. So if you're ever struggling with that, it could be the thickness of your magnet. And here I'm just putting them on. My ATG glue runs out right about there, and I didn't have the energy to fill it right away, so I just used my liquid adhesive. No one is going to tear this apart and be mad that I didn't use the same adhesive. You guys are the only ones that know. And I just made sure that they were all stuck on there. Each one of these is going to go in my kids' Easter baskets, and I'm really excited that I was able to make them cards because I haven't in a while. I haven't been able to share that part of me with them, and I'm glad that maybe I can get back to doing it on a regular basis. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video, and as I always say, give cards generously. Bye!